How's it going, guys? And as you can clearly see by the title, I'm about to have a very unpopular opinion, which I did share in my SummerSlam review. And if you guys haven't seen that, I know I put it out really late. I wasn't expecting SummerSlam to be on a Saturday. That's usually when I would do my SmackDown review. That's why you're not getting a SmackDown review, because like I said, it's kind of pointless now to have one, especially, with the SummerSlam review now officially on the channel. So with that said, I have to talk about this comparison that many people are making here on the good old internet. And of course, I have to put my 2 cents in. And you guys know my opinions. I also did a video on CMPunk's debut in AEW on the second episode of Rampage. Strangely enough, the ratings are not coming out for that episode. I find that to be a little bit odd. That when NXT and Dynamite were going head to head, they had the ratings there in the first episode of Rampage. They had those ratings right away. But for some reason, we're not getting those ratings, and I find that to be a little odd. Usually they'd be available within the next 2 days, and it's Sunday at the time of this video, and there's still no word on it from the dirt sheets. They would usually find those ratings come hell or high water. But anyway, SummerSlam, we had a great match between Cena and Roman Reigns, and I was quite happy with the way this match turned out. And as well as the event, it wasn't an amazing event. It wasn't one of the greatest SummerSlams ever, but it was a pretty decent SummerSlam. And same thing goes for Money in the Bank. It was a pretty decent Money in the Bank show. Good show. Let's not undersell it. There were some pretty good pay-per-views. But at the end of the match, out comes Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar is looking like a beast. He's got a top knot in his hair. He's got a ponytail. And not everyone could pull off that look, but Brock Lesnar did. He looked jacked to the gills. And it was exciting. A huge pop from the crowd. Now, I have learned that the new set design that they have with that giant Titantron, that now with that new set, they are able to pump in noise to those arenas, much like in the Thunderdome. So they found a way of incorporating that type of technology into live events in front of live audiences. So, I'm playing devil's advocate here. They might have embellished on those cheers, but, it's been since WrestleMania in 2020 that we've seen Brock. So it's been well over a year, closer to a year and a half. Brock comes back looking bigger, more jacked than ever, and he's got a cool new look, sporting the beard, sporting the ponytail, the top knot, and, getting in the ring with Roman Reigns after a great match. And, if you liked the match or you didn't like the match, whatever. It's exciting. Brock coming out there, lots of energy, the presence of a true star. Now, over on AEW Rampage, I've said I'm a CM Punk fan. You could go back and you could see, many times where I marked out for Punk. I put Punk over. There was some good moments in WWE with Punk. There are many great moments with Punk, many memorable moments with Punk. But people were commenting and saying, like, Brock Lesnar, is more over than CM Punk. And I would tend to agree. I kind of think back, and even though Brock Lesnar's appearances put together over the years, is almost not even half of everything that Punk did together. Because remember, Brock Lesnar's original run was only 2 years, not counting his stints in OVW. So Brock Lesnar's a bigger star. He was there, when the ratings were higher, and you could argue whether he was directly responsible or not. They had many people on the roster at the time. The Rock would constantly come back and spend months there. You still had Triple H. You had Goldberg at that time. You had Kurt Angle. you had Eddie Guerrero, you had all these different stars, and Hulk Hogan was there during those years as well. And so there was a lot of stars there, and you know, there were some genuinely good storylines. It wasn't as good as the Attitude Era, but nothing really is. But the Ruthless Aggression Era is something that I've constantly put over here on this channel. You know, a lot of people like to write me off as an Attitude Era, Vince Russo mark, and all that, but I genuinely enjoy the Ruthless Aggression Era: 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. You know, I like those years. I was critical of them at one time or another in my life, but like now, I think it took the product being, you know, at the basement bottom of quality for me to really appreciate the Ruthless Aggression Era and just how great it was, and how, you know, well booked in those stars that were there. You know, it's that maybe the writing wasn't as keen as it was during the Attitude Era, but you know, we had some good writing, we had good character development, and stars grew to be larger than life. And you know, you have John Cena, you have Batista, you have these wrestlers that transcended the wrestling business and ended up being huge successes in Hollywood, you know, and many other facets of entertainment. So, you know, Brock Lesnar was right there in the thick of that. And unlike CM Punk, you know, I said, I know I this is the wrestling business, and, you know, I don't like to get too much into CM Punk. That's why I didn't make fun of CM Punk. I didn't try to do something childish when I made that video on his debut and say, oh, he got knocked out in, you know, and how many minutes it was during his first UFC fight. And then I think he had another one and he was unsuccessful. I don't think he ever won an MMA fight, but he made a lot of money. And I'm not going to sit there, you know, and joke about it, because not everyone is successful in MMA. Brock Lesnar was very successful in MMA, and he probably still will be if he goes back there in the future. I mean, the guy is a beast, but whatever. You know, the case is, when CM Punk came out there, he cut a very pandering promo. People are putting it over all over on YouTube, all over on the internet. I don't know what JD is saying about it, you know, but he is, you know, I'm sure he probably loved that promo to pieces, much like everyone else, because, you know, he tells his audience what they want to hear. And, you know, I had, you know, one smart ass comment, oh, you know, you just say these things to be, you know, you counter what everyone says, you counter the popular opinions because your subscribers like it, and you tell them what they want to hear. And, like, obviously this is a person that has never watched this channel before, because I have gone on the front lines many, many times and had opinions, and on movies, on music, everything that we do here on this channel, on video games, I have had unpopular opinions about many, many things here on this channel. You know, I have put over Asking Alexandria, which is a band that many people hate. Suicide Silence. I put over metalcore bands. I've admitted to that being one of my favorite genres in music. I have bashed the Avengers movies. You know, and the thing is, if I praise those things or I bash those things accordingly, you know, and if I put over NXT and I put over AEW, I'd probably have way more subs, because the thing is, many people who didn't share those opinions, you know, as I got older on this channel, because remember, we've been doing this for a while here on YouTube, you know, I lost a lot of people. When I started, I remember specifically saying that, Nakamurphy and Sami Zayn, their match was overrated. It was not a 5-star classic at one of the NXT takeovers or whatever pay-per-view it was. And people launched into a firestorm against me. They, you know, I think it's probably one of my most thumbs down videos of all time. Some people appreciate it, but it cost me subscribers, and you know, I've lost a lot of subscribers due to the opinions that I have shared here on this channel, when I could have kept them tucked down deep inside me and just shared, and just bloviated bullshit here on this channel that people wanted to hear, just so it make them feel all nice and special inside. But yeah, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, that's completely false, obviously. Obviously there, when we have a small wrestling audience to begin with, when no one is watching this shit and the ratings are in the toilet for WWE and for AEW, wouldn't it be in my best interest, since, usually the AEW fans, though they don't want to admit it, they watch Raw and they watch SmackDown, and then they go and they watch Dynamite and they watch Rampage after SmackDown. Are you telling me there's people that just watch AEW? Yeah, there's some people. I know some of them. But that's simply not the case. You know that those are wrestling marks and they are going to watch things. They're going to hate watch things. And, I said time and time again, part of the reason why I watch this product and, what keeps me going is to do these videos. So, and so that's the simple fact of the matter. But those people watch the show. So if I praise that show and I put down WWE, which I do, I mean, come on, every SmackDown review, aren't I always saying negative things about, half the show is garbage, and I point out the things. I'm probably one of the most fair, honest people on here. And, even though I don't always agree with his opinions, Off the Ropes is a lot in the same way. The Schleg Daddy, I forget what his real name is. I think it's Jeff or something like that. But I respect the guy because he's another guy where he has opinions of his own and he shares them, and it gets people angry. And he probably could be. He's a great talker. He's a great video maker. He sits in front of the camera and he rants on wrestling. He has discussions, and it's a very intelligently put. And if he had opinions that were more positive towards AEW and the business as a whole, he'd probably be more popular. So that's the thing. But we're not going to sit here and make things up. I'm not going to sit here and say that CM Punk's pipe bomb #2 was the best thing ever, because it simply was not. It was an anti-WWE promo, which was not surprising. Oh, I wasn't in professional wrestling after 2005, and, got to put over the Smark Busters. I believe it's the right Smark Buster. The guy had some tweets, and I gotta put him over for it. He said, "How disrespectful. You have a match with wrestling itself in The Undertaker." And that right there, forget about, the Smark Buster dude, he is 110% correct. Now, it being a work shoot and that's Punk being unscripted, it is a little bit disrespectful, to say the least, to come out there and say that. And, and it may be a fake promo and everything, but it's true. You're telling me that WWE World Wrestling Entertainment is not professional wrestling? Even, we're seeing John Cena and Roman Reigns putting on a fantastic match. We're seeing Edge and Seth Rollins put on a great match. We're seeing these guys, putting on these fantastic professional wrestling matches. And you're saying that that's not wrestling because they brand it as sports entertainment, because they want to focus on characters and storylines as well. And they may not do that very well, but that is supposed to be the basis of that company. And they built you up. They made you straight edge society. They gave you these platforms to do the pipe bomb, to have the Summer of Punk, to have the payday, to have the focus on you, to put you over on Cena. And, and they made you into the star you are. If it wasn't for WWE, can you imagine if this guy was just a Ring of Honor guy? So yeah, let's just put that in. You know, Punk, his few months in TNA, he goes from ROH right into AEW. And he spent the indies. He'd be on the level of Christopher Daniels. That's basically what it would be. And Christopher Daniels would probably be bigger star than him because he had more exposure. You know, wrestling against AJ Styles and all that. So yeah, so CM Punk, that promo right there, it is actually, hearing other people talk about it and adding on to my own ideas, I'm like, yeah. So I gotta really give a shout out to the right Smarkbuster for putting that out there. And I think that's a great message. It's 100% true. That was very disrespectful because WWE gave him the platform to work with some of the best ever, and one of those being The Undertaker. Yeah, without a doubt. You know, they put him on the cover of WWE 13. There's numerous examples of how Punk should be kind of grateful for WWE giving him that value, that Tony Khan wants to give him that money to be in the AEW. But the thing is, to me, like I said, I marked out actually for Brock Lesnar, the presence, everything. It was better him coming out there in a big arena, greater attendance. You know, that's the thing they're talking about, this big, huge, massive pop. So yeah, I had to pull it up right here just so I could get the exact number for you guys. 15,316 people popped for CM Punk at Rampage. That was the attendance for August 20th, you know, this past Friday. SummerSlam had 51,000 plus people in attendance. And, you know, people are telling me, stop trying to downplay Punk's appearance. It was a pivotal time in wrestling history. And why is it? Because the guy was gone for 7 years? Is that supposed to be historic? You know, it was a good, you know, people said, oh, this shows a lot of enthusiasm. Well, a lot of people pop for Becky. A lot of people pop for Lesnar. You know what I'm saying? Why are we trying to make like this was the greatest defining moment because it made a lot of smarks happy, because it made a lot of internet fans happy? Now you gave them what they wanted. Tony Khan, you gave CM Punk all that money so he could come back and please all these great, respectful fans. You know, how long before during their match, you know, we're going to get some really rude, disrespectful chants from these goofballs in the audience, like we always do with that annoying ass crowd. I'm telling you, there is going to be a shift where people are going to get tired of CM Punk. Because that's the thing. When you give the fans what they want, you give them what they want. It's like, okay, you know, you gave them what they want. It's like a little kid. And they're going to soon basically forget about it. You know, they're not going to be that appreciative and everything. You gave us what I want. We got what we demanded. You know, like you felt like you got one over on the wrestling business. No, you got one over on Tony Khan, this clown, you know, who's just there to please the fans. And he's not, this guy, he's comfortable with the fact that he's not going to make a profit for the next couple of years. And he's cashing in, you know, he's putting all his money, something like $20 million on a video game that, you know, we don't even know if this game's going to be any good or anything like that. And he's putting the cart before the horse. And if you ever want, you know, a better example of where to use that expression, it's right there. You know, the WWE, when they burst on the scene, you know, when wrestling was getting hot, did they start, you know, putting out, you know, Atari games left and right and ColecoVision? No. They waited years until they released video games for the WWE because they had to, you know, make sure that they were in the right profit margin. But Tony Khan is like, you know, he just shows, oh, well, you know, the marks want video games because, you know, these hardcore marks are going to, after they finish watching all the wrestling, all the 20 hours of wrestling per week, they're going to want to go and play the wrestling video games. And I mean, that's all fine and well. You know, I've recently got back into playing the WWE games and I'm enjoying them again. and I enjoy making the retrospectives on those games for you guys. That's part of the reason why I went back and to play them and, go back to the ones I missed. But, you don't make the game before the company even becomes successful. That's what I'm saying. Before the SmackDown series came out and it was huge and you had No Mercy and all these great WWE games, the company had high ratings. They were making, money ham over fist. Now, it's kind of like, okay, WWE's still making a lot of money despite their low ratings. They're making huge deals. And the superior con in Nick Khan that works for Vince McMahon, I mean, this guy is making them oodles, truckloads of money. So, it makes sense for them to put out WWE 2K22. So, there's a big comparison here. So that's the thing. Brock Lesnar comes back. It's a more natural return. It feels less manufactured, less demanded, less like giving in to the demands of a bunch of goofballs, a sea of goofballs that are all, in this huge body of water of the IWC. It's in infested waters. It's piss filled. It's turning yellow. It's corroded. It's toxic as hell. And that's basically what the IWC and the YWC are. And Tony Khan appeals to those people. So, you could cut all these promos and CMPunk. Oh, I heard your annoying ass chants and I came back for you. They came back for the money. Brock is coming back for the money too. But it made me more excited. Because, the thing is, seeing all these goofballs praise it, that also really detracts from my enjoyment of that Punk promo as well. Because the promo was aimed at those people. And I don't like those people. So there's my explanation. If you don't like it, that's too damn bad. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys. I will see you next time.